Hey guys, we are live. And what I would love to do is I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Maggie Yu. I'm an integrative physician that focuses on autoimmune disease. And we offer a program which is healing autoimmune disease naturally. And here today we have with us Chris Wenzel. And Chris is here. And our question, a lot of people have the same question, which is going to be, um, a lot of us with autoimmune disease have been dealing with, debilitating levels of anxiety, brain fog, hormonal imbalances. And how do we actually, is there a systematic approach to this? Is this solvable? And how did it happen for Chris? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And what I'd like to do is, those of you that are watching, please already put in the comment section below where you're watching from. That gives us an idea what our demographics are. And then also, if you know anyone with autoimmune disease, please go ahead and share this, put their name in the comment section. They'll be alerted that the broadcast is live right now, and even afterwards they can watch it. So feel free to go ahead and put their names in the comment section. Share with us where you're watching from. I'm dying to see where you're watching from. And if you're someone that's been through our program already, one of our graduates and our alumni, please say I've graduated from this program, so people know that you guys are real. You exist. Astoria, awesome. Greer, I love it. Awesome. Hi, Lisa. So wonderful. So what I'm going to do is thank you. Go ahead and share this and give us a thumbs up and a wow face. All right. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and start with the $1 million question that people want to know is debilitating levels of anxiety, hormonal hell, brain fog, palpitations, anxiety attacks, in the sense that, is this a solvable problem? I met Chris about 10 weeks ago, and we had our phone call, and it was late one night in Chicago.
Sunday night in Chicago.
And those are the exact same symptoms that Chris was talking about for years that had been worsening for 9 months. And I'm going to let her tell her side of this, what her experience was that led her to this phone call with me. And then we're going to go into diving right into what has happened and we'll fast forward in the last 8 weeks. So take it away, Chris.
Hey, good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you're at. I'm really excited. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I have 2 young boys, and I'm a career woman. And looking back, I didn't realize how one issue over another had compounded over many years. And it started in my 20s. I had toxic shock, moved into my 30s when I ended up having Epstein-Barr, and then moving into my 40s where I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And one disease layered on top of another. And what we don't realize is they all compound over time if you ignore them. And I just was at my wit's end, visiting so many doctors, going online, reading books, trying to figure out what was going on. And, the symptoms that I was having was extreme bloating. I looked like I was pregnant. My hair was falling out, panic attacks, just gaining weight, heavy periods, not sleeping at night, heart palpitations, back pain, constantly cold. And you struggle, you look for answers. You're like, this can't be right. Why am I getting sick? I eat well, I exercise, I live a healthy lifestyle. And no matter what I did, I just was not getting better. And I found Dr. Yu one day online, and her approach was different than some of the other doctors that I had seen or even other web pages I had gone to. And 10 weeks ago, we were on the phone on a Sunday night, and I remember it so clear. I was hopeless. I wasn't ready to give up, but I was at the point of, am I ever going to feel better? Am I ever going to be the person that I was? I was lost.
You asked me that.
You
actually asked me that, Chris.
I did.
What was my answer?
Yeah.
What was my answer?
I've been sick for almost 20 years, but really bad the last 13, and hit my cap about 9 months ago, where just extremely exhausted in the afternoon, but I was wired at night. And I saw a general doctor, I saw an endocrinologist, I saw a homeopathic doctor, and I just wasn't getting the answers.
And you had mentioned that you had been on the blood type diet at that time.
I was on the blood type diet for 3 years. So I'm an A positive, which means I cut out, and my family was very supportive. They just wanted me to feel better, but it was beef and pork and dairy and tomato, nightshades. It was half of my diet was taken out. And
did you feel better though? Did it work? Did it work?
For a little bit.
Right.
For a little bit of time. I had some relief. But about 9 months ago, I hit a wall again, and I just didn't understand how could someone who had such a restrictive diet, who exercised, who tried to take care of it, how could it not work anymore? It stopped.
I like the word where you actually said restrictive diet. I'm personally not about restrictive diet whatsoever. I mean, one of the things we're going to talk a little bit about is this has got to be systematically based on your data. You know, exactly what you should and shouldn't.
I don't count calories anymore. I'm not gaining weight. I'm actually losing weight. I feel better. My hair stopped falling out. I have a full head of hair again. I'm sleeping at night. You know, there are rough days. Don't get me wrong. But in 10 weeks, I can tell you, I see the difference. I feel the difference. I get up in the morning. I have joy. I go out, I work out, I go to yoga, I enjoy my job. And it's if you said 10 weeks before that I'd feel this way now, I got my money back and then some. My life is back. So I'm just, it's definitely been worth the investment.
But Chris, that was the question you asked me on the call. You're like, Maggie, is it really actually possible that you said, I've lost myself. Is it really possible for me to get me back? Is it possible for me to feel better? And I know what I said, hell yeah.
You did.
I was like, it's not even hard. I know exactly how to do this. Remember that?
And a different thing about this program is you're not telling me what to do. We're in a group, we're in a community where we're doing our homework, we're getting educated every week on one of the 5 tenets of the program. And we're peeling back the onion week by week, but we're in a cohort with people who are in different stages of the program. So you're learning as you go. 10 weeks later, I'm still learning. And I know that 3 months and 6 months from now, I'm going to be peeling back different onions. But I took control of my own destiny and my own problems. I wasn't sitting in a doctor's office every week trying to figure out what's wrong, test after test. I knew what was wrong. I just needed the tools to understand what the next steps were. And then also get the right mindset to do the change.
Yeah. So everyone wants to know, tell me already, what was the linchpin? What was the tool that really made this big difference for you?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that are different? What really brought this outcome about?
The funny thing is I was on such a restricted diet, and I have everything back in my diet that I took out 3 years ago, with the exception of we did the food mapping. And when we did napping, that was eye-opening for me. And what was funny is when my gut literally felt like I had a rock in it every single day. I would feel awful.
And then mastermind calls, we were like, Maggie, what am I going to do about this rock?
It literally, and the way the day went on, it felt worse, especially after dinner. It was awful. And I was taking digestive enzymes, but no matter what I did, it was this cycle where it would feel awful, and then I would get the heart palpitations, and then my heart would race, and the anxiety would set in, and then I wouldn't sleep at night. So it's this.
You call them adrenal surges.
I did. They were literally like adrenal surges, or I'd pop up at 2:00 in the morning in a hot sweat, and what is going on? I come to find out that when I wasn't feeling well, I would take a protein shake, bone broth, or eggs, and I come to find out that I have a high sensitivity to eggs. I went through 24 eggs just on my own a week. And
that was why you were having all these adrenal surges.
Because when your gut's not right, your brain's not right. When your gut's not right, you're not sleeping. Your gut's not right, your thyroid doesn't work right. Your gut's not right, you gain weight. I mean, it all came down to the gut for me. And I've been gluten-free for a very long time. So for me, that shift was a little bit easier. Is probably the most significant we see with some of my peers in the group. It's the gluten, it's the dairy, and for me, it was eggs. So I took out the eggs. 2 days later, I started to feel better. And I accidentally had something with eggs in it. I remember messaging the group going, oh my gosh, I had eggs and I think I'm going to die.
You did. I
don't want to feel this way again. And so now there's no eggs in my life, and I'm okay with it. Now, granted, that wasn't the thing, but I will tell you, it was the thing that gave me hope. And then I continue through the program and just peel back every layer one at a time. And every day I just get better. And, I look back, it was probably right around week for me, like 4.5, that I started going, aha.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not one day. You get up in the morning, I have a gratitude journal, and I meditate, and I think about what has been different than yesterday to today. And I'm thankful for that different. Oh, today my stomach only hurt for 2 hours. Or today, the changes. You have to notice the changes and push forward. And
where's your stomach and gut feeling now?
It is, if I started this program and it hurt like a 9,
yeah,
probably on a bad day a 4, and on a good day maybe a 1 or 2.
Right. And how many good days a month do you have now?
Out of 30 days, you know what? It's been getting better the last 2 weeks even. So I would say I probably have maybe 3 rough days a month.
Yeah.
Out of 30, where I was at 30 out of 30.
Right.
Huge difference.
Huge.
I own my life again. The insomnia, I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not taking sleeping pills to do it. I'm not on any depressants to do it. My hormone has shifted. For the ladies out there, 20 years, I was telling Dr. Maggie, I've had cycles that are 10-day long. And this is the 3rd month I've had a 3-day cycle. I did not know that was possible. I'm sharing a lot here. But it was just like these little changes. My body was screaming for help for so long. And
there's a lot of people watching right now. You're getting emotional. I totally get it, because people don't understand how, when your hormones are off, how it affects your mood, your sleep, your energy.
Your family. It affects your family, because when you don't feel well, you snap at them. When you don't feel well, you're not there for the love of your life. I'll be married 20 years next month.
I want to beauty.
He's sweetie. He's a good one. Yeah.
And the hormonal shifts have changed that. I mean, how do you think it's affected your relationships?
Much more positive. I had my son say to me, Mommy, you are just so much more happier now. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're doing, you're happier. Mm-hmm. And when you hear that from your kids, I was miserable. I wasn't enjoying the moments. I wasn't in the special moments. People would look at me, and my husband said to me one day, you look miserable. And I said, I am miserable. This was back in December, right before I started your program. I'm in a special moment with my husband, and I looked miserable. And now, no, I won't let this disease take over my life. It's not.
Chris, what do you think was the biggest thing?
I'm sorry, you broke up. The biggest thing?
What do you think is the biggest thing that's happened?
Again, partially my gut getting under control. So it allowed me to sleep at night, which is important for that. Also my blood sugar balancing. And then we also worked on the hormone piece. And so very specific supplements I needed to take based upon the testing. So when we started out the program, I needed to take, you provided tests for us around different pieces, and the hormone tests came back. And what's funny is I did one 6 months prior, and my profile was completely different. And when I honed in on what I needed to do specifically to address my adrenals and my hormones. And it wasn't quick. It was probably one of the last things to turn in the program. But I will say that my cycles did shift, and I was quite amazed looking at my supplements, my iron, my B. As I had the long cycles, I was getting rid of iron. And when I was getting rid of iron, I was having problems with my thyroid and sleeping. They all just cycled each other.
Remember what I said that a lot of time is getting that very expensive iron into you, but then you were just bleeding it out every single month.
Yeah, I was. And migraines, the migraines were atrocious. Day 2 of my cycle every month, 2 days just of debilitating migraines. Mm-hmm. I have not had a migraine in 3 months.
Wow.
I've had a headache. I've had a couple small headaches, but I have not had a migraine in 3 months. I've not had to take a rescue migraine, and I don't take anything preventative.
So for those of you that are watching, if this story resonates with you, if you're struggling with hormones, having your doctor try to understand your hormones, say me too. And please write down what your experience have been trying to address hormones with your doctor. For me, it's really important. The most important thing for me in dealing with autoimmune disease is that all these pieces are crucial. You have to know where your hormones are, your thyroid, your ovaries, your adrenals. You have to understand how to actually interpret those hormones accurately. You have to understand what's causing it and how to fix that cause. This is why we get outcome. And that's the process that you and the other graduates have gone through.
And I think one of the other things that was very compelling is I had a conversation with my general doctor because we were trying to troubleshoot this. And one of the other, I'd say the other linchpins back to the gut was the candida. I had severe candida overgrowth, severe. I did not realize the top of my tongue looked like a white snowfall, and I didn't realize that was candida. And I had the test, it came back, and I'm like, huh. And I will tell you, fighting that candida is not the easiest thing, but made a huge difference. And I went back to my general doctor and I said, hey, this candida, I've been doing next. He goes, what's different? You look different. I said, I've been fighting candida. He's like, oh, that's just a myth. It's not a myth. It's real, and it needed to be treated. And I will say that made a big shift too.
I think that's, to me, it's one of the biggest problems that those of you that are watching right now faces, is that you're dealing with providers that don't understand the role of hormones, the role of infection, the role of these vitamin deficiencies, the role of food and food mapping, that these play a huge role in autoimmune disease, in hormone balance, in her quality of her, where you were mentally, and it affected the quality of your relationship in your life everywhere. But the problem is that when someone doesn't know, a lot of times, and I'm an MD, so I was trained in the conventional method, and I practiced family medicine for the first 10 years of my career until this happened to me, right? And so I would have the same response back then, because candida, oh, it's all over the internet and Google, it doesn't even exist. Well, you tell Chris this.
No.
Chris, your tongue is like, the color is completely different.
I'm running around showing people my
It's pink.
It's pink. And you don't realize that that's probably one of the few markers you can watch as you're going through. I get up in the morning, I look at my tongue, and then I brush my teeth and I go, okay, it's about the same. And then I'd look a couple days later, I'm like, ooh, I'm starting to see a pink patch. And I will say, the minute that my tongue cleared up and got to that pink stage, it's like get rid of the candida, heal the gut, and then nutrient, those different layers for me. The minute that candida was gone, the brain fog lifted off, and the anxiety and the palpitations, they just all stopped, which is great.
So here's a really good question. Lisa Jevons has a question. What's the difference between food mapping and FODMAP? Well, FODMAP is actually another type of elimination diet. So we're not talking about here. Food mapping is a process that we do specifically in our program that involves food tolerance testing. It also involves a lot of support that we do around it. And Chris has been through it. How do you think food mapping was very different than what you were trying to do with another elimination diet?
So I've done the blood test. Your blood test, but I've done a doctor blood draw. I've done the scratch tests on the back. I've done that. I did yours, and then I did the elimination, because I know a lot of times they say, oh, well, you need to be AIP. Oh, you need to be blood type. Oh, everyone has, a broad stroke to how they think they're going to solve. And yes, if you go AIP, you might get rid of a food that you're having an intolerance to. I really like this approach, because
add more of something you really had a problem to, like egg.
Yes, absolutely. For me,
would have stuck it on the AIP diet.
You've got a problem here. And by the way, food intolerances don't show up when you eat it. You think you eat something and an hour later you feel terrible. It could be 3 days later before you feel the effects of what you put in your stomach.
How are you supposed to figure that out?
You can't. I tried. And I will say, now that I know what's good and what's bad for me, if I eat something and I don't feel great within 3 days, I go back and I write those things down, and then I'll test them again. And if it's something, there might be a point, because my gut is so damaged from all the years of yo-yo dieting and the candida and everything else, my body right now might just not be able to tolerate beans, as an example. I might put eggs back in one day. Right now, it's not a good idea for me, and I'm okay with it.
what's really important is that's the data-driven approach.
Yes.
And then after that, and when you eliminate and clear the waters, there's actually a systematic way with which you put things back to figure out what's really true and what's really affecting you and what's not. There's actually a system to this.
I have bacon again. I haven't had bacon in 3 years. Like, I have been buying bacon every week, which is so funny. I'm eating, I am full. I eat what I need to eat. And I don't worry about gaining 2 or 3 or 5 pounds, because at the end of the day, as long as I take care of myself and follow the things that I need to do, not putting the things in my body that make me feel yucky. My thyroid's functioning better now. I had another scan. It shrunk in size in half from where it was 6 months ago. So my body is not attacking itself anymore, which is cool.
Now, I have a question, because a lot of people, when they are actually, watching this video, they're looking at our program, Healing Autoimmune Disease Naturally, right? They're sitting here and they're like, some people think this is a gimmick.
No.
Some people think that, it's snake oil. And, we were on the call 10 weeks ago, and you were skeptical, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me about the skepticism, and then you said your family was as well.
So this is an investment. And by the way, I spent more money in the last 6 months visiting with doctors trying to figure out what I'm doing than entering this program and owning it myself and investing in myself. It's an investment in me. And the family had to make a decision. Is this the investment we want to make? And my husband's like, hell yeah. And you see a lot of people on the internet, and a lot of people have these programs in the 1 month and all of these different online tools. There's a lot out there, but this is honestly the real deal. I'm not compensated to say. I just want to share my experience, because I was in so much pain that you can turn it around and you can feel like an awesome mom, an awesome executive, an awesome friend, an awesome wife, a mother. But, we did our research, we looked around, and we took the leap. And my husband and I were just talking about this the other night. Best investment we have made in a long time. My health has paid off dividends. I'm enjoying life again, and you can't put a price on that. And now I know what to do to control my life. I know what I need to do to move forward. And that's important for me, the empowerment piece, and not the hopelessness that I was feeling.
Mm-hmm. Someone was asking what your autoimmune disease was.
I had Hashi's. So I'm dealing with an Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus, adrenal issues, a severe adrenal burnout, Hashimoto's, and adrenal hormones, Hashi, and Epstein-Barr. Those are the ones that I'm dealing with right now.
I think that's a really interesting piece in your story, and that people don't understand, that there's, based on your history of what you said with Epstein-Barr, with toxic shock and all that, there's just a huge trigger of infection as a trigger in autoimmune disease. And clearly, if you actually look at your history, the Epstein-Barr definitely was a triggering event for the onset of these autoimmune disease symptoms. Then the toxic shock, that was another triggering event. These are big things to look at, and yet I feel like in conventional medicine, these things are just ignored.
They are absolutely ignored. When I look back at the different pieces over the years, what led to the Epstein-Barr is I had a series of 6 sinus infections in a row, and I went on many different antibiotics, and I had anaphylactic shock. And after that, literally everything turned around in my life, because I was on high doses of steroids. The Epstein-Barr set in. We put the Epstein-Barr in remission, but I did not take care of myself the way I needed to, being a mom, having 2 boys. One of my boys had special needs we needed to deal with over time. And I put myself on the back burner. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't exercising well. I wasn't sleeping well. And that was all sitting dormant in me. And then eventually it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. The Hashi diagnosis came, and everything started crumbling after that. And I was scared.
And the interesting thing is now you know what all those infections were about.
Absolutely.
What do you know now about those sinus infections?
I don't have sinus infections anymore. I don't.
So why did you have so many then?
Well, the infections, it was just one. The adrenals were shot. The infection was living. The candida was there.
The candida. So the chronic sinus infection in people with autoimmune disease that doesn't even respond to multiple rounds of antibiotics over and over again is basically undiagnosed candida for a lot of these people. And you were one of them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing, is these are missing pieces of evidence that people just aren't putting together. There's a whole way of actually putting the whole picture together and understanding how every piece of this fits together. It's a puzzle that absolutely is. There's a systematic way of getting it to put together. You understand that now?
I do. By the way, no allergies right now. I suffer in the spring and the fall with ragweed and pollen. I am not on any allergy medication. It's gone.
Right.
The candida, no allergies.
But candida is a big trigger of allergies.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the most allergenic substances on earth. And then you have a ton of it in your gut. You basically have raised your allergenic threshold huge. Any little thing to add on top of that is going to tip you over to have allergic reaction, allergic reaction, allergic reaction.
Yeah.
So everything that we do in this program actually help with allergies also, because it's dealing with some of these things that trigger it, and it's feeding the allergic reactions as well.
When I signed up, I was trying to treat my Hashis. Mm-hmm. I was trying to, the weight, the sleep, the panic, the hormones. Mm-hmm. I did not realize that I would fix so many other pieces, the allergy, mm-hmm. the migraines, the long cycles. I mean, heck, if you just think about the amount of money I save in maxi pads a month, I've paid for the program. And the other funny thing is 10 years ago, I was almost diagnosed going into menopause. And now I feel like I'm coming out. I'm nowhere near it right now.
Chris, that was me. You know, that's my story.
That's one of the things that captured me.
At 36, I was, if you guys don't know my story on this, it's on the online training. If you guys haven't seen the online training, go to healingautoimmunediseasenaturally.com right now and register to watch training. And I do tell about my story. My story is that at the age of 36, I was diagnosed with early menopause. No one knew why. People just say, Maggie, you're just getting older. And I'm a doctor. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm 36. I'm not 86. You know, and I had to really fight to figure out what the problem was. And it took me a lot of fighting and pushing to finally diagnose myself with Hashimoto's. And meanwhile, I was having tons of symptoms of autoimmune attack with neck pain, joint pain, weight gain, depression, anxiety, brain fog, insomnia. All of this was happening. And I literally lost myself. And literally how the birth of this program was, I knew that conventional medicine had nothing to offer me. They offered me birth control pills, which made me fatter and meaner. They offered me antidepressants, which made me gain weight and have even less of a libido. Where's your libido now?
Much better place. And I will tell you, every doctor I went to wanted to put me on an antidepressant.
Me too.
My general doctor, I was sitting there and go, I am not depressed. There is cause. What is the problem? I'm not depressed. And it just, that's their number one, is we're going to put you on a sleeping pill, an antidepressant. And here's the other thing, my blood pressure, I had talked to you about this, was 200 over 100 when it was running at. They put me on beta blockers. Mm-hmm. My blood pressure's one between like 130 over 80 now, 125 over 75. Significantly better, no beta blockers. And it all came down to treating.
You know, one of the side effects of beta blockers is actually depression.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that's the whole balance of all this. So I do have a question. I mean, a lot of people like, okay, so they've heard like all the different, some of the pieces that were linchpins for you. And so, and they've heard that you were skeptical, you know,
Absolutely.
And now you're at the end of the 8 weeks. Some people ask, what happens after 8 weeks?
I asked you that question. What do you do?
I know. I wanted you to answer this yourself now to everybody else.
If you put the time in, if you do the lessons, if you do the mindset, meaning you get in the right mindset and you worry about you for 8 weeks and make it happen, you will see changes. Will they be overnight? Maybe. For me, they weren't. But they will, the changes will happen. I am fully confident that I will continue to feel better even after now that I'm done. And there is a support system after we leave the program. So we're given the tools and we've got to go off and do some work internally. We didn't get to this point to have these autoimmune diseases just because we did something once. We've broken a lot of things in our life over time. And now I've got to work on fixing some of those. One of the other things is blood sugar. You know, I need to make sure that I'm eating every 4 to 5 hours minimum a high quality protein snack, not sugar, not cookies, not candy, not whatever sitting on the countertop that my kids didn't eat. I need a good quality snack. And before I go to bed, I need to have a very small dose of protein so I can sleep through the night. And that's what I need to be successful. If I don't do it, I don't sleep.
How quickly did that work to help you sleep?
That was pretty quick. The sleeping
I know.
better. It was like week 2.
I know.
I got to a point where I wasn't feeding myself because I'm like, I just keep gaining weight. But it was my body holding on to everything because it wanted every piece of nutrient that I gave it, because it just kept pushing it out. The candida kept squelching it. And the minute that I started doing the blood sugar, took out the offensive items, sleeping at night, I don't worry about it now. My hairstylist did my hair back in the beginning of February, just right after I started the program. And she just saw me this week. And I didn't tell her I was in the program. And she looked at me and she goes, "What did you do?" So what do you mean? She goes, "The dark circles under your eyes are gone and your face is thinner." And she goes, "You look like you've lost 20 pounds. I said, I have. I have. And she goes, what did you do? Because I want to sign up. I said, Dr. Maggie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Chris, there are some people out there that are sometimes, oh, I have a cat behind me. There are some people that are on the fence about, it is a leap of faith to actually jump and go research this program and get on a phone call with us. What would you say to someone who's on the fence, who's afraid that, this is just another gimmick?
I'll say to you what I said to you 10 weeks ago, and I'll say it in a different voice. I was tired of being sick and tired. So if you're tired of being sick and tired and you are ready to take control of your life and not have someone else tell you what you need to do, but truly take control, educate yourself about the things you never learned about nutrition and hormones and your blood sugar and infection. If you're ready to take control of your life and you're tired of being sick and tired, this is the program for you. And Dr. Maggie doesn't take everyone. She interviews you. So just as you're interviewing her, she's interviewing for you, because you have to have the right mindset to do this. If you don't, you're not going to be successful, and that's her brand. So it's a great program.
And Chris, wasn't I like, are you worthy?
Yeah, you were. And I left that phone call. And I don't know that I shared this with you, but I was in tears, because I said, this is either going to be the absolute best thing I've ever done, or it's going to be the absolute worst thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I just was out of hope. I didn't know where else to go. And then I finally said, no, this is going to be the best thing, because there was a reason I found her online. There was a reason she popped up in my feed, and I listened to her videos. You give so much information before we even enter your program. You're a giver. You and Frankie, by the way, Frankie is our nutritionist. We get on a call every week as a team, and one day she's providing data, you're providing data. You're always there to answer questions, and you have us be the doctors, which I love. You ask us, Dr. Chris, what do you think today? And
I'm teaching you guys.
You are
99.9% of the doctors out there. That is my goal, and that's what we deliver.
Yeah. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, this is it.
I love you. Thank you for being
you. So Thank you for giving me my life back.
Because before we started this interview, you said 10 weeks ago, I would have never thought I would be brave enough or confident enough, given where I was, to be on this interview today. I
want to help other people that were in my situation. It is not hopeless. You sit there and I'm depressed. Will I ever get out? I was reading, there are Hashimoto groups that I am still a part of, and there are people thinking about taking their life because they're just so dire. There is hope. You can figure this out. And best investment in myself in a very long time. And I do it again. And I feel like you could charge double and it'd still be worth it. Thank you, Chris. Absolutely. Okay, you guys, have a great night. Thank you for joining us. And Chris, thank you for being honest. Absolutely. And to learn more about the program, you could just go to healingautoimmunediseasenaturally.com and watch the online training about what our program is about, what the mindset is really about, and then hop on a call with us. It's really important. We spend the time to actually take time to talk to each of you that book a call with us individually. And it's really important. That is probably going to be the most important call of your life, because we really go into learning and understanding what's going on with you and seeing how we can help you. The solution is huge, but it's not necessarily right for everyone, nor is everyone ready for it. So it's really important during that call to determine whether it's a good fit.
And that's out of caring for you and out of also my responsibility to the people that are currently in our program. So we love what we do. And Chris, are you a star in the program, or are you a typical person in the program?
I'm a typical person. I feel like there are people, if you haven't listened to Elaine's story, she humbled her heart. The woman was incapable in terms of leaving her bed, and just her story. I feel like my hopelessness, the very small, I'm like, man, was I silly? But I can't diminish that, because it was but the stories that are out there, the men and women, there are men in our program too, but the men and women in there and the support from their spouses is just amazing. And it's every week taking that time to invest in you. The first couple weeks, you're like, and then right around week 3, week 4, I'm typical.
Click. So that's right. So I just want to let people know that Chris, like Elaine, and what I asked Elaine the same question, Chris. I was like, Elaine, are you a superstar in the program? Or are you typical in the program? And her answer was the same, which is, I am a typical person in the program. I've seen some people with even more results or quicker results. So by no means is this an unusual result and outcome. And I honestly am saying that when I said to you 10 weeks ago, I was like, this isn't even hard for me.
Yeah, I know. You made it. Oh, you're like, easy. Like,
That's what I said.
it's complicated.
No, it's not.
And by the way, drugs for me did not work for thyroid. We didn't talk about that, but I went down the path of, it wasn't an option for me, and it's not an option for everyone. And you helped me see that I have a ways to control this naturally. And I did go on thyroid meds for a while, and I did not feel well. So this is a good thing.
That's just one tool. You literally have hundreds, and now you know them.
I do. And you're here if I need more. So I think that's awesome.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. And if you guys could give a thumbs up, heart, wow face for Chris to show your support. This was not an easy interview for her to do, and I am so proud and thankful that you did this. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Good night, everyone.
Yes.